Most of us met AI inside a browser tab, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. But now the conversation is changing. People are asking a more serious question. What happens when AI has to run on your own machine? That is why GPUs, unified memory, and small silent desktops suddenly matter. And that is also why the Mac Mini has become strangely hard to ignore. In April 2026, reports said some Mac Mini models were sold out or delayed, with local AI demand and memory shortages both part of the story. So let's move past the hype. The real question is not whether the Mac Mini is small or fast. The question is why this kind of machine is becoming useful again. To understand that, rewind to how we used to buy computers. For many years, buying a computer was simple. We asked the usual questions. How fast is it? How much storage does it have? Can it handle office work? Can it edit videos? Can it run multiple browser tabs without hanging? And if someone was into gaming, then maybe one more question. How good is the graphics card? But suddenly, because of AI, the question has changed. Now people are asking something very different. Can this machine run AI tools? Can it automate my work? Can it stay on quietly in the background? Can it become a personal server? Can it help with coding, video workflows, voiceovers, business tasks, research, and maybe even run AI agents? And this is exactly why the Mac Mini has become interesting again. Not because it has a flashy screen, it does not even have a screen. Not because it is the cheapest computer once you buy everything around it. And not because everyone suddenly needs a desktop computer. The Mac Mini is exciting because it gives you a small, silent, powerful Apple Silicon machine at a relatively accessible entry point. And in the AI age, that combination matters. But this is also where people can easily make a wrong decision, because hype can make a product look simpler than it really is. A lot of people in India may look at the Mac Mini and think this is probably the cheapest way to enter the Apple ecosystem, or this is the cheapest serious AI computer I can buy. And both of those statements can be partly true, but they can also become misleading if you don't understand what you're actually buying. Because Mac Mini is not a laptop. It is not a complete ready-to-use computer. It is the brain of the setup. You still need the body around it. A monitor, keyboard, mouse, cables, storage planning, maybe a dock, maybe an external SSD, maybe a UPS if you want it to run reliably. So the real question is not, is Mac Mini powerful? The real question is, who should actually buy it and what role will it play in your life? Because if you buy it for the right role, it can be an excellent machine. But if you buy it just because AI is trending or because everyone is talking about it, you may end up spending more than you expected. Now, before we talk about whether it is worth it, we need to understand why AI has suddenly made computers exciting again. For years, most normal people heard the word GPU only in three situations: gaming, video editing, or graphics and animation. So naturally, many people still think GPU means visuals. But AI changed that. AI is not just about visuals. AI is heavy mathematics. When an AI model writes text, creates an image, understands audio, generates code, or processes a large file, it is doing a huge number of calculations. And it has to do those calculations fast. A CPU is like a few very smart people solving complex problems one by one. A GPU is like a large team doing thousands of smaller calculations together at the same time. That is why GPUs became so important. Not because AI is about graphics, but because AI needs parallel processing. And this is where modern computers are changing. The Mac Mini does not have a big separate NVIDIA-style graphics card like a gaming PC or AI workstation. But Apple Silicon combines CPU, GPU, neural engine, media engine, and unified memory into one efficient system. That is why even a tiny machine like the Mac Mini can handle many creator workflows, coding workflows, automation tasks, and some AI-related tasks surprisingly well. But here is the important point. GPU is not magic. For AI, memory also matters. Storage also matters. The type of work matters. If you are using ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, or other cloud-based AI tools, then most of the heavy AI processing is not happening on your computer. It is happening on their servers. In that case, even a normal computer can feel powerful because your machine is mostly just the interface. But if you want to run local AI models, local voice tools, local coding agents, local automation workflows, or heavier creative tasks, then your own machine becomes much more important. That is when RAM, GPU, storage, thermal performance, and long-term stability start mattering. And this is why the Mac Mini conversation is not just a tech conversation. It is a buying decision conversation, especially in India, because higher configurations are expensive. The base model may look attractive, but the moment you start thinking about more memory, more storage, a better monitor, better accessories, and long-term use, the budget starts changing. And this is where people need to slow down. Don't buy Mac Mini as a cheap Mac. Buy it as a role-based machine. Ask yourself, what job will this machine do for me? Will it be my main desktop computer? Will it be my creator workstation? Will it be my AI experiment machine? Will it be my coding and automation box? Will it be a family desktop? Will it run business dashboards, files, scripts, and AI agents in the background? Or am I just buying it because it looks like everyone on the internet is excited about it? That one question can save you a lot of money. Because the Mac Mini is not exciting only because it is small. It is exciting because AI has made small, powerful, always-on computers useful in a new way. Earlier, the most valuable computer was usually the one you carried with you, a laptop. But in the AI age, there is another possibility. The most useful computer may be the one quietly sitting at your desk, connected to power, internet, storage, files, and automations. A laptop is personal. A Mac Mini can become infrastructure. It can sit there and handle background work. It can manage downloads. It can organize files. It can run scripts. It can support your video workflow. It can become a small AI lab. It can help with automation. It can become a dedicated machine for business or content creation. For someone like me, that is the exciting part. I don't just look at it as a computer. I look at it as a small machine that can support YouTube workflows, business operations, research, file management, voiceovers, coding help, and AI experiments. And if tools like OpenClaw or similar AI agents mature properly, then a machine like this becomes even more interesting, because then the computer is not just something you sit in front of. It becomes something that can keep helping you in the background. But again, this does not mean everyone should buy it. Let's be very clear. You should consider the Mac Mini if your work mostly happens at one desk. If you already have a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, it becomes even more attractive. It can be great for creators, developers, students, freelancers, business owners, and people who want a clean, quiet, powerful desktop setup. It can also make sense if you already have a laptop, but you want a separate always-on machine at home or office. Your laptop can remain your travel machine. The Mac Mini can become your desk machine. That is a very practical setup. It can also make sense for people who want to explore AI seriously, but don't want a huge desktop tower. You can use it for cloud AI tools, coding assistance, automation workflows, basic local AI experiments, video editing, script writing, content planning, and file-based workflows. But there are people who should avoid it. Avoid it if you need portability, if you work from cafes, travel often, move between rooms, or want one complete machine. A MacBook may make more sense. Because a MacBook already includes screen, keyboard, trackpad, battery, webcam, speakers, and portability. Mac Mini may look cheaper at first, but it is not a laptop replacement for everyone. Avoid it if you're buying only because AI is trending. Avoid it if you don't have a clear use case. Avoid it if your budget is already stretched. Avoid it if gaming is important to you. And avoid it if your work depends heavily on Windows-specific software or NVIDIA CUDA-based workflows. For those users, a Windows desktop or laptop may be a better fit. Now comes the configuration question. Should you buy the base model? For many people, yes, the base model can be enough. If your work is browsing, office work, writing, YouTube, light editing, online meetings, web-based AI tools, basic coding, and simple automation, the base model can be a very capable machine. But if you are buying it for long-term creator work, serious local AI experiments, heavy multitasking, video editing, or multiple AI tools running together, then you should think carefully about memory. In simple terms, 16 GB is fine for many regular users. 24 GB or 32 GB gives you more breathing room. And if you are going into serious AI, heavy creative work, or professional workloads, then you may need to look even higher. The problem is that Apple upgrades are expensive. So you need to decide before buying. You cannot casually upgrade memory later like a normal desktop. Storage is another big decision. Apple's internal storage is fast and clean, but storage upgrades can get expensive. For many Indian buyers, the smarter route may be to keep internal storage reasonable and use a good external SSD for videos, files, backups, AI models, and large projects. But don't go too low if this is going to be your main machine. Apps, cache files, system data, AI models, downloads, and video files can fill storage faster than people expect. This is where the total cost becomes important. The Mac Mini may look like a relatively affordable Apple computer, but once you add a good monitor, keyboard, mouse, SSD, dock, cables, UPS, and maybe paid apps or AI subscriptions, the actual setup cost can become much higher. So don't compare only the starting price. Compare the full setup price, and then compare that with a MacBook, Windows laptop, or Windows desktop. That is the honest way to decide. Now, if someone buys it correctly, how can they benefit? First, they get a clean and powerful desk setup. For many people, a fixed desk setup improves focus. You sit down, everything is connected, and you are ready to work. Second, it can reduce pressure on your main laptop. Your Mac Mini can handle desk work, file management, exports, automation, and background tasks. Your laptop remains free for travel and mobility. Third, it can become a creator machine. If you make videos, write scripts, generate voiceovers, edit thumbnails, organize footage, upload content, or manage a YouTube channel, a dedicated desktop can make your workflow smoother. Fourth, it can become an AI experimentation machine. You can explore local models, coding agents, automation scripts, file-based workflows, and tools that connect different parts of your work. And fifth, it can become a small business productivity box. This is especially interesting for small business owners. Imagine a machine that quietly helps with order dashboards, customer support workflows, content planning, file organization, reports, research, and automation. Not magically, not like science fiction, but practically, step by step. That is the correct way to look at it. Not as a magic AI machine, but as a serious work machine that can become more useful as AI tools improve. And this brings us to the most important point. The Mac Mini is not cheap by default. It becomes valuable only when your use case is clear. If you buy it because it looks small and affordable, you may be disappointed. If you buy it because you know exactly what role it will play, it can become one of the most useful machines you own. So my approach is simple. Don't buy the Mac Mini because everyone is talking about AI. Buy it if you can clearly say, this is what I want this machine to do for me. Maybe it is your clean desktop, maybe it is your creator workstation, maybe it is your coding setup, maybe it is your AI lab, maybe it is your always-on business machine, maybe it is a second computer that quietly handles serious work. But define the role first, then choose the configuration, then build the setup around it. Because the Mac Mini is not the whole computer experience, it is the brain. You still have to build the body, and that is where you should be smart. You don't need to buy every expensive accessory on day one. Start with what you actually need. A good monitor if you don't already have one, keyboard and mouse, a reliable external SSD if you work with large files, a hub or dock if you need more ports, a UPS if you want it to stay reliable during power cuts, and only after that, think about premium accessories and paid software. The goal is not to build the most expensive setup. The goal is to build the most useful setup for your life. So is the Mac Mini worth it? My answer is this. It is worth it if you treat it like a powerful desktop brain. It is not worth it if you treat it like a cheap laptop alternative. It is worth it if you want a clean, silent, always-on machine for serious work. It is not worth it if you are buying it without a clear purpose. It is worth it if you already have some parts of the setup. It becomes less attractive if you have to buy everything from scratch. And it is definitely not a universal recommendation. For some people, a MacBook will be better. For some people, a Windows PC will be better. For some people, even a normal laptop with cloud AI tools will be enough. But for the right person, the Mac Mini is genuinely exciting. Because in the AI age, the best computer may not always be the one you carry. Sometimes, it may be the one quietly working for you at home. And that is why the Mac Mini is back in the conversation, not just as a small computer, but as a possible personal AI workstation, a creator desk machine, a business automation box, a small always-on computer that can become more useful over time. So before buying it, don't ask only how powerful is it. Ask what will I make it responsible for? Because once that answer is clear, the buying decision becomes much easier.